Hello, hello out there. James here. Um, I recently saw the case. I heard a lot of people talking online and on news about the Amber Geiger case, where the Dallas police officer killed the guy down in Florida, and she's a white cop, and uh, he's a Caribbean black person from the Caribbean. Um, so I entitled this "A Double Standard in America." This video on based on this case. Each time, and I noticed this when it comes to cases like this, publicly, nationally, internationally, when you have the law enforcement and the person just based on skin color enforcing the law, when they go pursue a suspect or whatever, it seems like it's a certain standard just by the officer of what his skin tone looked like and what the union represents the officers heard and get this person bail money and the best of one of their best attorneys when clearly the officer could be in the wrong, in which they overstep their boundaries and they 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 call excessive force basically. This case with Amber Geiger was just unbelievable. A guy gets shot in his own apartment. The guy was no thug. He never had an arrest record. He was a businessman. He was a church going man, a family man, and everybody loved this guy. He wasn't one of the young people, a young man you see sagging on the streets. He had no criminal record. He had he never had no arrest record as far as drug activity, violent activity, any stalking activity, anything. So why would this cop kill this man in his own house? And which it didn't make no sense. Common, that she had the same apartment, but common sense can tell you that something was up with this case because you don't just go to, where your apartment is on the right and wrong floor, right? And this is what I didn't understand. Like most people don't understand. How can you just flat out murder somebody? And if you did, let's say if you what there's a protocol that most police officers go by when they go if they believe it's a break-in. First of all, they radio to somebody that there's a break-in, and that's the backup whatever. So if something goes down, they probably have it on radio that they dispatch, and that they have. Can you send backup or something like that? And you just don't go hog wild Johnny West and start shooting up the place on the inside of without at least a proper investigation. And so this woman literally committed murder behind a badge. And yes, she just now got fired from her job, but it seemed like in a court of justice, that's not enough because there's been many officers have resigned, it got fired, but later on they're able to pick up into another occupation. They're able to go to another police department and continue the distracted behavior where they might abuse somebody else. And that was the case with the officer with the Tamir Rice case here in Ohio, where this guy has subordinate problems from previous police departments. And how is that they was able to pick this guy up, to pick this particular guy who shot this kid, who they said he claimed that he had a gun, but it was a BB gun, and they rolled up on him so fast and they gunned him down like it was just nothing, and but he didn't get arrested or nothing. The cops didn't get arrested. They didn't do it. They did an investigation, and he didn't lose his life. Now we go to the situation in Louisiana. There's two cases down in Louisiana: the Alton Sterling case, and in the case where the one guy, he was a white guy with his child, and he had a felony record. They both have felony records. Um, there was two black officers chasing this guy. They didn't know he ran from it, so they didn't know that this guy had a gun. If he would have ran, he could sometimes, they exchange fire when people, if they got a gun, they would run and exchange fire at each other. But so even though the cops overreacted, as far as shooting up his truck, and they found out his son, the guy's son, was in the car. It was a 6-year-old boy. They end up sentenced the officers just like that. They suspended the fire. Boom. They've convicted him within 2 or 3 weeks. They had him going do 40 years of life in prison. Then you have a situation where it was Alton Sterling, where the man's hands is out on his back. There's no way he could get to his gun. They had him flat on his back, so he couldn't even struggle to move to get a weapon to fire back at the officers, and so they shot him. They had a gun right in his chest. They unloaded, killed him right on camera, in his chest. A double. Them cops walked basically, but the other cops in Louisiana, who were the black cops, did life. Here's another scenario in Minneapolis. Two cases where the guy told the guy he had, don't reach, pow, 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 pow. He killed them. He didn't care. The cop who shot the guy didn't care that there was passengers in the vehicle. There was a child in the vehicle, and there was his girlfriend in the vehicle. He shot the guy right in front of him with no conscience whatsoever. The officer, the union, again, backed him up, and he was able to resign and probably go to another police department. It wasn't charged anything. Same case in Minneapolis. The cop, there was another cop. It was a Somalian cop, which people said they would tell, in America's eyes, they're black. In some places in America, they're black. The Australian lady came because I don't know if she was coming up to let them know or get information. He removed his revolver and he shot through the glass and he killed the woman. Within a week or so, they had him charged. He charged with her murder, and she was from Australia. She was technically from the United States, but it does have this double. But why am I bringing up all these cases? Because there's a double standard in America. You can't, for example, if I see somebody, if I have a righteous mind, and I see someone who have the same ethnic background, same skin color, do something that is a crime, and I just sit back and say, how would it look like for me? And I knowing that they did a crime, said, he's black. Let me give him an excuse why he committed the crime. See, he committed the crime because he was poor. He committed the crime because he didn't have an initial beginning. He committed the crime because, look at his environment, whatever. He committed the crime because something, maybe psychologically, something is going, and you start making up excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. The problem, the mindset is that this guy committed a crime. And wrong is wrong. Whether he robbed somebody, whether it was of his same nationality, same ethnic background, same race, or whatever, the crime is a crime. And this is a double standard we have in America. We don't want to address these things. And that's why that, when you take something from race perspective, the people who don't say that they not have don't see things out of race perspective, they true self is revealed. Especially when you take two people, it take a situation like this, and someone kill an innocent person, and they see the color of their skin, and they still stand by and make up excuse why that cop did what they did, or that person did what they did, or the criminal did what they did. Wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong on every aspect and every level. And so it's really sad that you have people that do that. And so that's why there's so much racial tensions in the United States, in America, and why we just can't get over it. Because how can you get over something when you don't address something that is presently keeps happening over and over in different parts of the country, over and over and this double standard that, regardless of the ethnic background, put them to death. But the same person that do the same crime, let them receive life, let them have a pass. That you can't do that. You can't make a law and say that just because someone looked like you, and it should be a double standard. Crime is a crime, and justice is justice, and that's the way it is. But we don't live where people properly don't want to do that. For example, there was another case here in where I live at Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, where there was and this was a white guy. This was on national. This was on the local news. It didn't make national news. He burnt. It was a stalking case where it was a domestic violence with his girlfriend. Something happened. He tried to hold her hostage up in the building, right? So they was able to get her out of the building. He didn't want to come out of the building, so they sent SWAT after this guy. This guy was loaded with gun. Not only that, he shot the SWAT officer, killed the SWAT officer. He killed the SWAT officer, the white guy. He's a white guy. He killed the officer. He burned down the building and endangered other people's residency. Now, in a case like that, you will figure the cops will have a justified reason, regardless of the suspect, what he looked like. They got justified cause to take him out because he's put the public in danger. He has shot one of their officers, going to kind of shoot a couple of their officers, whatever. And I mean, this dude, I said, you have no choice but to take the person out because they have choose to take other people's lives. And as a police officer, which no officers don't want to be put in that line of fire. They have to take a life, but you won't have to take this person's life. He was spared. He was the guy here in Columbus was spared. He's doing some time, but the point is they let his life spared. Case and scenario. It was a 13, I think he was 13 or 13 years old kid that had the BB gun. The police chased him. He's running away. He's not shit for what the witnesses say. He's running away with this supposedly gun. He's running. He's not shooting back or anything. The cops shot him and they killed him just like that. A young black kid. Just like that. No. And then they come to find out it was a BB gun. The cops walked. That Columbus police officer walked. And it's like I said, it's a double standard. And you might say it in any kind of way that no one wants to take a life. It was a different situation, two different scenarios. But the bottom line is it's a double standard. It's a double standard. Whoever's behind that badge. and they make that decision. It's a double standard when a court of law decides to walk a police officer and won't charge him. It's a double standard. And this is what people are starting to see. And this is why the Ferguson and all these riots and all these groups are rising up, because it was a double standard. And the anger came out of the people because they kept on seeing it. You can just go, someone can legally, with a badge, can just murder somebody and the system come behind them. Well, there's got to be investigation. Well, they got to go through this, they got to go through that. And they come to find out they draw it out, like they draw it out so long that they decide they don't want to charge the officer who clearly got away with murder. You have someone who wasn't a police officer, like George Zimmerman, that completely, this made national news. Everybody know about the George Zimmerman case. To this day, he's running around antagonizing people in different places. I mean, it's a double standard, and not only that, he did commit other assaults on other people, and then the guy who he assaulted, I guess there was a white guy who he assaulted. The white guy gets arrested, but Zimmerman walks. There's a double standard in America. There's a double standard in stuff like this, and he killed Trayvon. And I knew the lady who was one of the stenographers in the case. Even she said that he had no right, after the case, had no right to go after that kid. She said he was completely wrong. And she was white. She said there was by justified reason, he had no right. He should stand down. But he didn't. And the court case went into his favor. And now, Trayvon Martin's family suffers the consequences, like Tamir Rice. And it's a double standard in America. And this is what's causing the racial tension in America. Because, someone can commit a crime. Clearly, we can see someone commits to do an unjust act, but the system looks at them in a different way. For example, another case, but this had nothing to do with officers this time. This has to do with a young man happened in college. It was a case in California, at Stanford. I think it was Stanford, if I'm not mistaken, where, again, it was a white guy raped a white female. She ran, screamed, hollering. There were witnesses that witnessed that this incident happened. There were witnesses that they even chased the dude down on campus. So after he got caught, after he allegedly raped this woman, guess what happens? He gets off. There was a case 20 years prior before that, where it was a black athlete who claimed that he raped somebody. He did 20 years. And the problem is some chick lied on him and said that he raped her. And to kind of find out he was innocent. He lost the best youthful years of his life in prison because allegedly of a lie. Well, what happened with the Stanford case, the judge let him off and said, no, we don't want to hurt this young man's career in his life. I think that he should, we're just going to give him some type of probation, and that's it. A slap on the wrist. But the two cases there was no case with the guy the black guy who allegedly raped this woman, and it was false charges. The white guy, there was witnesses, and there were other white people that saw this crime happen. This woman got raped, and he walks. The double standard of America. This is a double standard. It's a double standard in America when it comes. And this was initially a crime. Rape is a crime, and they just slapped him on the wrist. He's able to be on probation and go to another school. Meanwhile, the victim, oh well. But this is what they call privilege. That there's a thing called privilege out there, and it sound like it's technically white male privilege. That, I mean, that's a clear cut case right there, where someone can clearly rape somebody. Witnesses heard the screams of this young lady being raped, and then they chased the dude down. They captured the dude and wait till the police get there and arrested him or whatever. And just because some judge is connected, so I think he's had some kind of connection with the young man's father or something like that, they let him walk. I mean, it's the same double standard in America, and this is the reason why things, you see, people hope like one day it'll get better, but how can it get better if people can't stand for justice, if they won't do the right thing up under justice, regardless of race, color, creed? How can you can ask someone to move forward or say, can forgive them? How can you ask somebody when there's clearly no justice? And then the people who do something like that, they're not even sorry that they did it. They're not even sorry that they don't even care that they did. They just, they're just thinking that they untouchable, basically. And so that creates a tension right there. So it's really sad. It really is a sad case where there's a double standard in America. And that's why race relations won't heal. So therefore, this is when it comes to certain topics like this, it's always going to be a division between maybe what's of the sum of the majority, because people don't want to address and say, yes, the United States is one of the countries that have a problem with race. Yes, we have many people of different races over here, but we want to put them on the totem pole when it comes to certain things that happen in this country. And so we put people on the totem pole, and it's not right by the Almighty God standard, because the way God sees it is someone committed a crime, justice has to be done to account for that crime. In regards of race, color, and creed, in which God made all the races, if someone commits a crime, they got to pay for it. And that's the God of justice for all. You can't just can't look at somebody, and I can't look at somebody because they're black and make up excuses. No, and somebody white can look at somebody white and can't make up excuses, because when they see, when it comes push come to shove, a crime is a crime. Justice is justice. If people have to really come to understand, I have to understand this, man. You just can't make a double standard for one people. If you're going to enforce a law or force it for all, for example, a double standard in America, recreational marijuana. Why is it that there's so many people that went to prison for marijuana, but yet they legalize marijuana, but other people get a chance to legally sell marijuana, the same type of marijuana, the same drugs that they go after the young kids in the inner city for, or somebody in the block, it raid their house and farm or whatever, and they put them in jail and prison for it for 10, 15 years. But at the same time, they legislate the law to sell a recreational drug. I mean, it's a double standard. That's what I call a double standard. And that's why it's a hypocrite thing. So, okay, now we can tax something what was technically was illegal to sell it illegally, as legal form of substance. Now you can put it in law and say that it can be taxed. Double standard over law and morality. That's why I said sometimes some people believe that this country going to hell because of that, because we have a double standard of law, that we don't even honor the law, what the law is, and put something in government and honor it and saying that people should abide by all walks, races, religions, sex of life, on how everybody has to abide by this law. But we don't, because secretly someone has to put something in the law that say, except for these people, except for this situation, and flip it and turn it, and it's like, wait a minute, why is that? Why is it different for that, for these people, but It's harsh on these people. And so this is what you have a case what's going on right now throughout America. And it's the truth. And it's the same double standard, everything that you see. So that's why there's always been a division like that, where someone commits a crime based on a lie, they get away with it. And then the court side with them to get away with the lie that this person did. And it clearly is the evidence. You could take every phase of facet that someone, when it comes to race, the between black and white, someone can do something, do the same exact crime. And even now you can see famous people going through this that do the exact same crime. They let him walk. But they persecute this one and give him more time and practically put him in prison for the rest of his life. Same crime, same situation, double standard in America. It's all a double standard. It's a double standard, and people can't respect the double standard because, like, how can you tell me about the law of the land when you can't properly respect your own law of the land? How can we dictate and tell other people how in the United Nations to other countries how you should treat your citizens, but yet they can look back and say, hey, you don't treat your citizens according to the law of your land. Don't come over and tell me how to dictate morality in my land when your land it got a whole lot of jacked up stuff. And it's clearly news is showing international. And so other people in the parts of the world seeing it and saying, what the heck? This is wrong, man. Wrong. Even no matter what language that they speak, people know wrong is wrong. They know that that's wrong. So someone can just clearly murder somebody and get away with it. That's wrong. And then it's like then it's a double standard where the system try to come behind and try to get them off in different ways. It's a double standard and that's why we are at the peak hours of these last days, because it's just that it's just getting more ridiculous. And I feel for the young man who got shot, killed by the officer. I pray that his family will have peace, and because I know that's got to be heartbreaking, and knowing that you know your son's character, that this it was no shady stuff. It's not like he was, he didn't have anything to do with this officer. They didn't have no. Some people try to lie and say they had some type of relationship or something like that. But even if it was the case, he didn't deserve to get gunned down like that. Whether that's true or not, which is I don't believe it's not. But he didn't deserve to get gunned down. And it's just that it's a good thing. Yes, they finally caught up and fired the officer. But what about the charge? The officer firing don't do no good, because some officers that were let go from previous departments, like I mentioned earlier, they end up going to another police department across the country, somewhere in a small town, and able to make a sustainable income. And they don't lose their license. They get them a chance to keep their gun license and everything. It's a double standard in America with law enforcement and everything, where even if you are law enforcement and just based on the color of your skin who supposed to represent the community of people, but stand down when it comes to certain situations. Depends on what the suspect looked like. Depends on what the case looked like. We'll back you up or whatever. This it's a double standard. It is not right. Because if the officers, went through all that training and went through all that school, they gave an oath to the community. They gave an oath to protect the community and abide by state government's law, protect the laws and enforce the laws. It's just that it's not right, man. It's not right. And that, but someone who's enforcing part of the enforcement of the law of the city, of the county, of the land, is breaking the law themselves, and then feel justified in clearing themselves, which it doesn't make no sense. It really do not make no sense. um, it's a double standard. It really is, and that's why it's frustrating people, and this is why we are divided because of certain cases like that about race, because there's a double standard every time you hear something like a case such as that, and people they want to deflect, they want to run, they want to deny, but the truth of it is, justice is going to have its way sooner or later. If it's not in this life, but in the next life, justice will have its way. The people who have been unjust for so long, who've been set up unjust so long, will have their due thing. And then the ones who lie and never repented for it, oh, they're going to want to have mercy on their souls. Because when you lie because you think that you're privileged, and that you think that that you lie, and you can get away with it, that's just really something asinine in itself. But it's really sad and that's why we're so divided up as people in this country, because there's people that they switch, they flip flop. They flip flop. Clearly, it's like it's a law, but I can break the law, you can't break the law. Well, the law is a law. For me, it is. For you, it is, because based on connections, based on history, based on class, based on ethnic skin color. That's what it is. That's point blank across the board. That's what it is. That's what it is. And because of your class, based on history, education, association, all this gets other people off and able to do the things that they do, when others who up under the same faith can have a system of just system. And that's wrong. That's so wrong in so many different ways. And so that's it's just ridiculous that this continue to go on and on and on and on and on. And this is why people keep saying America is going to suffer, because you're doing things and you're trying to justify in doing things, but at the same time you're going to reap what you do against other people, and even with people in your own country, you're going to reap what you do. There's people going, this stuff's happening now, where people are reaping because they feel like they thought that they privileged, and their ethnic background, their ethnic makeup can get, in some cases, not in all cases, but some cases, and they know this, that can get them off. They know that it plays in their favor. They know that, and they have the smart enough to figure that out. But what they don't know, that there's a day coming where you can only get away for so much for so long. And I mean, it's just like a robber or a thief or a murderer. Sooner or later, it's going to catch up to you. Whatever you sow out, it's going to come back. And that's just the same thing go for the robber, the thief, the murderer, whoever, people that commit the most heinous, serious crime in history, regardless of if it's at a higher tech class or a lower tech class. Murder is murder. Rape is rape. Robbery is robbery. Whether you robbing the bank through a computer or you robbing the bank with a gun. I mean, it's one of the same. I mean, basically it's the same thing. It's a different form of doing something, but it's the same thing. If you go out and commit something and commit a crime, and it caused the law or the enforcement to come after you, whether what they call it, the white collar crime or blue collar crime or whatever, crime is crime, period. It's like sin is sin. For example, sin is sin. No matter if it's a good sin or it's a bad sin, sin is sin. No matter if you commit adultery no matter if you gossip, sin is sin. In the eyes of God, sin is sin. And that's just that's one of the examples I like. You could put, and that's a justifiable reason because sin is sin, and that's the truth. I mean, whether some people want to like it or not, but if you agree with the sin, then you about to reap the situation, agreeing with something that you know is wrong, and you have trying to put up a double standard, or whatever. You want to, and you have a spirit what they call pride. Well, you're going to reap what you put out. You're going to reap that prideful spirit, and that prideful spirit going to cause reaping, because whatever you sow, you reap. Whatever you sow violence, you get back violence. You sow destruction, you get back destruction. And that's the truth, baby. That's the way the law of the land is. That's the way some people call it karma, but I call it something else. It's called justice. So whatever you sow, and you think you're gonna hide, the enemy will let you hide for so long. But then again, he can only let, but when justice come along, even evil, which is the enemy, which is Satan, has to step aside, because justice can come along and has to take claim of this, because someone cried out in justice, someone's blood cried out. And when someone's blood cry out, demand justice, there's the God in heaven that will ask for justice on behalf of that person, because somebody's family member cried out to him in heaven, and God will get his due and will get his justice, and we have to expose the whole system, and then put it before the world and the people, and saying, this is what's going on. I don't approve of this, but I'm going to expose this to the whole world. That's, and where someone trying to hide and trying to divide, been slinger. They try to hide like a roach trying to hide in the corner. You're going to be exposed. When you do something wrong, you're going to be exposed. That's just a flat out truth. No matter if you do it behind a computer screen, whatever you do, if you do something behind it, you're going to be exposed. Whatever is done in the dark will come to the light. You can't and think that, and it's just the same thing in every walks of life. But it's here and there. But getting back, I digress. But it's just that really this double standard has to stop. This double standard has to stop where you want people not to complain. You want people to say get over it. You want people to say, why can't we just move on and get over, forgive, and forget? You want there's people that would say this, but yet they want to keep the double standard for themselves. But they want to flip it on people and say, come on, why don't you just forgive and forget about this? But it's okay. This person just was having a bad day. And this is what people will make up excuse for Amber Geiger down in Dallas. She was just having a bad day. Come on. Why don't we forgive and we forget? And not, instead of looking at the whole situation, and this is what some people would say, that they would excuse this woman, and knowing that this woman would kill this man in cold blood. But if it was the other way around, based on the appearance, the ethnic background of the person, death will be required of that officer if the officer was the opposite of what Amber was. That's the truth. It would have been no forgiveness. And that's what's really is a double standard where people have problem in different communities in this country, because it's the same. You're saying the same thing. You want it this way, but you want other people to forgive you, but you can do what you want to do and keep your. And it used to be a time when that was happening, but times are changing. We are in the last days, and people who have that kind of mindset, who can play that psychologically flip mindset, you're not getting away with it no more. You're not getting away with trying to make someone else feel guilty, even though they was completely in the wrong. And days are over, Jack. And days are over, because justice as time is winding up, it's getting closer and closer to we're getting closer to the end of time. And so, it's sad, but there might be some places, in some cases, where there is justice in the land, in some country, in some land. But in most cases, the way it's going, when you have people in evil in high places, they'll make room for injustice. And they can, because they figure they have enough money, they have much connections, and they have much power to do evil and get away with it. And the ones who help get away with it, I can assure you this: when it comes to the end of their life, if they don't repent and have remorse, God won't have mercy on their soul. Because look what the destruction, what they cause other people, and they still do it prior to the day they hit the grave. So some people need to think about this double standard stuff. Are you going to stand for regardless of race, color, creed? Are you going to stand for true justice? Even if someone that look like you, are you going to stand for just us or just this? Justice for all, not just us. That's the big difference. Is it just is, or is it just us? Because if you're doing a double standard, then you're part of the problem. If you don't agree with something like this, you're part of the problem. If you agree with someone murder somebody simply because, even though the media may paint something of a group of people this way, instead of looking at the character of a person, most people look at the group as most people who are prejudiced do. Most people who are prejudiced look at the group, but they try to psychologically say, well, I'm not prejudiced, when they put in the spotlight. But most of the time when they affiliate crime, they look at the color of a person's skin. And then in their mind, they justify it and say that this person had to do something because these people come, where they live and where they commonly live at, they're known to do something like this. So it's justifiable for this person, even though it could be in the wrong. And you have people with that kind of mindset too. They know that is wrong, but they justifiably will say that. They will justifiably say that this person deserved death because look what kind of people they come from. You got people like that. They have inner, and they don't like to be exposed secretly because they can keep it secretly. They can hide behind it, and they can say it among people. Now, these days with media and cameras and computers and laptops, electronics, people are being exposed, secretly being exposed to high places and losing their jobs, losing money, losing their business because their opinion are exercising who they really are. There was a time you could be prejudiced, you can bully somebody with your prejudice and can get away with it because you had a free will to do this. And this is why some people are doing it. They exercise their pressure. You can be in a boardroom and say something about a group of people, and everybody will laugh it off because everybody who look like you would, I can just say whatever heck I want to say, but I ain't gonna have to worry about the repercussions. I can say whatever I want to say if there's no. But now that this cameras and technology is out, it's showing a different meaning of double standard, and people are reaping the costs of what they do. They're reaping. That's another form of reaping. Some of these people going on calling the police on someone because they're African American, and they get caught, or they saying something racially injustice towards any group of people, and they get caught, and they get fired off their job, or they get fired, or they lose their business, have to close out. One case, it was a man that I saw was online that he was harassing his neighbors because they were Black, and he ended up losing his home. His own stupidity caused him to lose his own home. His own prejudice caused him to lose his own home. And people wasn't even bothering him. People wasn't even They weren't bad people. They wasn't being nuisance or nothing. But he didn't like it because he lived next door to his black, and he harassed his family. He did everything up on his son, tried to live the life of living hell as far as tormenting them on their property and everything. Well, here's the news. He got some court, what I call justice, saw that, put him in prison, and now his house is foreclosed. His house is on the foreclosed. That's justice, because that family did not deserve to get harassed based on the ethnic background. This is happening in modern day America right now. Not something you can hear about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years, 60 ago. You got some of the same stuff that's repeating from the past. Is people that exercise their prejudice back then, during that time, all the way to now when it comes to that topic. They're still exercising that kind of spirit. And that was the case with that man. So he was sentenced to prison and lost his home. So that's what I mean, people who try to do evil and justify in doing the evil that they do. There are people who lost their jobs having a double standard, that they harass somebody or call the cops on somebody. And I don't understand that, like most people, like some people out there, I don't understand that you can adjust your reality, that people who don't like people of different ethnic background, why is that they can't adjust their reality? Why is that they can't adjust their reality, that they live in the world? That you just can't be a spoiled brat and think that you can just do whatever you want to do because maybe you grew up like that most of your life, and that you could do it you step out to the real world. You can't do that to other people. And that's just common sense. It's something that, we teach a child, but you got some adults that can't figure that out. A child, you can chastise and check a child, but it's bad when you have to check an adult based on double standard. That's really bad. Even children, some children even know what is right and what is wrong. They know from the feet when the time they're born into the world, they automatically have an understanding what's right and what's wrong. They're being taught right. But when it's sad if adult is not teaching a child what's right and what's wrong, and let them teach them a double standard, because they're gonna have a hard way to go in life if that is the case. Then, if they feel that having a double standard will get them off all the time, having a double standard. There was once a time it was like that, but not these days. Most people ain't putting up with that stuff, and it could cost you something financially to whatever. So I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna say this: the double standard for America to move forward have to stop. Whether you enforcing a law or not enforcing law, or you representing law, or whatever you represent, whether you're a lawyer, police officer, or judge, or anything, you have to represent something right. You have to stand for standard, and that's what it comes down to. That's what it all comes down to. That it has to come down to the particular step. That's the only way we're gonna get moved together as a country, as a neighborhood, as a people, as a community, whatever. When people stop, with this mindset of double standard based on the appearance of a situation. If you're not going to do that, then you're going to be stubborn about it, and you're going to be secretive about it, and put it like a secret society about it, it will never ever heal, because people are not stupid these days. There's a scripture in the Bible say that in the end times, knowledge will be increased. So anything that's hidden is God is going to allow to be revealed one way. No matter how hard man try to hide his secrets, God, if it's some injustice that's in the earth, it will be revealed. It will come to a time. It will be shown to different people that this is what's going on. You see it right now when you look over social media. There was some stuff that we didn't even know until 20, 30 years later about all this secret society stuff. secret things that people who are behind what and who did what and what's been. So in these last days, evil is really being revealed, and they can't hide. They can't shut. It's so much of it up. See, when they invented the internet, they didn't realize it, the people who invented it didn't know that it was going to. Sooner or later, there will be people out there to reveal the double standard. Because people who do evil wants to keep doing evil until the Lord Jesus Christ comes, but not these days. But now that you have technology and stuff like this, and you have your social media, different outlets, whatever, people are so quick to put something up on the internet just like that. And I'm seeing like, wow, man, it's like, wow, they revealing truth. And you can't, once the truth is revealed, they try to find different ways with net neutrality. That was about. This to slow down the truth, because the devil, people who operate under the demonic, they don't want truth to be revealed. They don't want it to be revealed. They want to stay hiding in the dark. But no, these are the last days. Nope, everything has to be revealed, especially if the Most High God is causing the people to reveal and giving the Spirit of truth on flesh to reveal it to the truth. So and it's so glad, because you can't flip it and it says one way, it's justified this way, and it's going this way. So that's basically what it is. That's why I wanted this all down to that. This is the reason why. And thank God, because sometimes the mainstream media don't even show you half the double standard, because they show you their standard. And it's when you get to the point, you have to go to social media, there's someone out there got to drop truth to you like that. And that's why the main media who's showing their gender, their standard, their double standard, don't want social media platforms to exist and try to find some technology to shut it down. But people ain't having it, because people want the truth. People crave the truth from all over the world. They want the truth. You can't stop it. And when it's true, you can't stop the truth. No darkness can stop true light. And that's the fact. Especially if people calling, wanting for it, and they research it for it, and they can show it to you. People desire truth. And this is what people who do stuff in the dark, who do evil, that's what they want to stay in the evil. And it's funny, whether they're in politics or whatever, they want to do their darkness in dark. Nope. Not is God still on his throne, he ain't. You're gonna keep doing stuff in the dark no more, as time is sped up until the time he come, whenever he decides to step his foot in the earth. That's gonna be a rap, Jack. When God step his foot in the earth, the double standard is going to end. And thank goodness that there can be justice, and it can be called law, true justice, because there's a lot of people who have been justly undone in this earth deserve the justice, and the double standard need to be revealed. And I pray that it do. I pray people who've been getting unjust get the justice, because people who've been doing this been getting away with for too long, and it's evil been getting away too long in darkness and secrecy. So it's time for the double standard to end. And I pray for those who are seeking justice, they get their justice. Justice, not from a just us, but just. That's a big difference. All right, then. My name is James, and hope you view this. I don't have nobody listening right now, but if they ever get hold of this video, I hope it's viewed and liked. All right, then. I hope you guys out there have a good day, and take note of what I'm saying, and take it to heart, take it in prayer, and I pray that you get justice, whatever case it may be, and that the world, people in other parts of the world will see this. If somebody do, get this video and share it, and see the truth that there's a double standard in America, and so, and we're just as guilty as anybody else. We're just as guilty as any other country, anybody else, with politics and everything else, what you could say. So, but I thank you for hearing my video, And I thank you all, and you all have a good day. Be blessed out there, wherever you, in the morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at. And you guys take care and be blessed. Take care.